Just before Thanksgiving in 1988, Paul Saginaw and a handful of Zingerman staff borrowed a van. They loaded up the van with surplus food from restaurants and grocery stores and quickly distributed it to St. Andrews in Ann Arbor and Brown Chapel in Ypsilanti. This simple act of connecting those who have more than enough food to those who have too little food would grow into Michigan's first food rescue program. Zingerman's nurtured food gatherers and gave us our own set of wheels, continuous support, and a healthy dose of chutzpah. Food Gatherers soon became an independent nonprofit and embarked on a journey to engage every food business, every public institution, and every single one of our community members in fighting hunger where we live.
Food Gatherers started as a program to supplement existing federal programs. As the federal safety net dwindled, Food Gatherers very strategically and very agilely adapted to meet the need in the community. The 2009 Great Recession created huge numbers of people who were food insecure. It was at that point that Food Gatherers really grew and adapted, again, to create this safety net system.
When Food Gatherers became the real food bank of this community, that allowed us to be able to decrease the amount of money that we would spend at regular grocery stores and to be able to save money, which then would allow us to serve more people. It's taking that pressure off our back that we have one central source that we can come to, and it helps to supplement, in the case of Peace Neighborhood Center, about 50% of our annual food costs. That explosion, that great explosion of being a food bank and food rescue, all combined, was extraordinary for us and for this community.
For many years, Food Gatherers measured our success by the pounds of food we distributed. We learned from the people we were serving and began to connect the dots between hunger and health. Not just more pounds, but more nutritious and more economically valuable food was needed. We began to invest in our capacity and the capacity of our partner agencies to distribute more vegetables, more fruit, and more protein.
Food Gatherers supplies Hope with a lot of different kinds of food for our different programs. Their truck comes 3 to 4 times a week. Almost every day that we're open, they're here delivering for a different program. We look forward to seeing the truck come. It's big and it's orange, and the people come out and they have big smiles, and they're just super friendly, they're efficient, they're helpful. We did something with them that was called the Food Pantry Conversion Project, and we made it so there were more healthy items available or more prominently displayed, and they helped us purchase a large refrigeration cooler for more dairy products and more low-fat dairy products.
If we didn't have Food Gatherers, we'd probably have to limit the amount of times that people can come to our food pantry each month. We would have to limit the amount of food that we're allowed to hand out, and it would probably only be able to be a lot of processed foods, which are high in sodium and can have negative impacts on people's health. We get 95% of our food from Food Gatherers.
When we look at the statistics, I believe close to 15% of the residents have food insecurity at some point in their life. That number is even heightened when you look at young moms. And at Corner Health Center, over 50% of our patients and our clients are young moms or expecting moms. The work that Food Gatherers does, not only with Corner Health Center, but with other agencies, allows those who otherwise wouldn't have access to fresh produce and food. It actually gives them that opportunity to come to our pantry or visit another pantry.
Food Gatherers has been above and beyond ever since I've started working with them. And I can count on one hand the amount of times that a delivery ever showed up late. And quite frankly, I have not seen a single other partner in which that is the case. At one of our locations, we were doing about 90,000 pounds of food at the very beginning, and is now doing regularly over 450,000 pounds of food. Really a big part of that shift was an increase in the amount of produce that we were getting as an agency. And so then ultimately the clients that we were serving were getting much healthier products as a result. The most common feedback they were getting was the reduction in health issues from the families that we were working with. Several of which were even noting that they were virtually on the verge of death because they could not afford having the proper nutrition to support breaking free of the challenges with like diabetes and heart disease and a variety of other health factors.
In Washtenaw County, The cost of living is so high that someone earning minimum wage would have to work 3 jobs to make ends meet. Yet they make too much money to qualify for many government assistance programs. 40% of our neighbors struggling with food insecurity are not even eligible for SNAP. 40%.
Food's not enough if you want to solve hunger. You've got to create food security. So looking at Maslow's hierarchy of need, physiological, air, water, food. If you're hungry, you only have one problem. Second step in Maslow's hierarchy of need is safety, and you shouldn't feel more safe than you do in your own home. But until people have food, their mind's not free to think about those higher needs. So food gatherers coming in to create food security, the right size safety net for people, allows them the opportunity to begin to solve problems on their own.
Whenever possible, we use food as a tool to address root causes. We partner with Ozone House to provide culinary training and life skills to youth at risk of homelessness. We partnered with Avalon Housing to create permanently affordable housing right next to our warehouse, a visible testament to the connection between hunger and homelessness. Food Gatherers strategically fills the gaps in the safety net system by creating our own direct service programs or leveraging existing federal programs.
In the county overall, the proportion of children that are food insecure who do not have enough food on a regular basis is 12%. In Ypsilanti in particular, it rises to between 40 and 50%. And over half of those kids are not eligible for any federal nutrition programs. One of the best things about the summer food service program is that we can give kids exposure to foods their parents wouldn't afford to be able to try otherwise. Trying new stuff is expensive and risky if your kids don't like it, but when they have an opportunity to try a wide variety of fruits and vegetables with no financial risk involved, they find a ton of things that they really like. One of my favorite stories was a kid who had never had green beans before, who tried one at summer food and now said his parents buy them every week. It's his new favorite thing.
The Delanis Center is a county building, and Food Gatherers runs the kitchen, and the other tenant in the building is the Shelter Association of Washtenaw County, and we house homeless men and women here. Every day I wait for the Food Gatherers truck to show up at 1 o'clock, that I see what we have to work with for today and for tomorrow, and then I create our menu. I know what my protein is, I see what carbohydrates and vegetables I have, what I can use to make salads, and then I have to look at the volunteer list. I have to assess skill level, and then we just get into it, and it's complete improvisation. And so we meld it together as a team, and at 5 o'clock when we're done cooking, it's just amazing. We always face a challenge here every day. We have to have the highest standards, both in terms of the quality of food we serve, but more importantly, that we serve it safely and that we keep this kitchen in tip-top shape. We train constantly as a team, and we train our volunteers. So every day is a different volunteer shift. So we are training 3 and 4 and 5 times a day. The volunteer force is very, very talented, and we do some incredible meals here that make people feel welcome and appreciated and nourished.
Powered by a network of more than 7,000 volunteers and funded almost entirely by private donations, Food Gatherers procures food from more than 1,000 sources and delivers the equivalent of 14,500 meals a day to 170 programs in 18 townships and all 6 cities of Washtenaw County. More than 90% of every donation goes directly to programs, earning us a spot in the top 1% of charities rated by Charity Navigator.
Every activity, every program, every idea, every innovation that food banks are doing nationwide is happening in this building. Food Gatherers is one of the first food banks in the nation to begin to pilot and work with healthcare. And to do that, you have to be specialized. You can't really just depend on donated food in order to meet the outcomes that healthcare is looking for. And so that means you have to be really good at purchasing food and make sure your donor dollars go well. What you'll find here at Food Gatherers is they've been first and they've been innovative in all of these approaches. When you relieve that burden of food insecurity to them, then it's just not a pilot that got funded, it's a program that needs to be sustained because it's having impact in people's lives.
Food Gatherers is a well-oiled machine, but it needs the oil to make sure it works properly. It needs a constant influx of volunteers and money to be able to do what it does. It needs a constant influx of people who see this as an issue in our community and understand that what is happening with Food Gatherers' mission is assisting a great population of people in this county. People who are your next door neighbors, who you might not be aware of, who are food insecure, who are suffering from deciding I have to pay rent or I have to pay these medical costs, and the first thing that gets cut is food. That safety net is a safety net that's provided by Food Gatherers, and we need to continue to help support an organization like Food Gatherers that's a part of this great safety net for this community and many of the people in this community who are our neighbors.